Hi, my name is Bonnie Blomberg. I'm a professor at the University of Miami School of Medicine in the Department of Microbiology and Immunology.
And hi, I'm Liz Kovacs, Vice Chair of Research in the Department of Surgery at Loyola University, Chicago. So Bonnie, I wanted to ask you how you got interested in public affairs, because you were on the committee before I became a member of that committee.
Well, I've always been interested in, what the organization is doing to help scientists, and I'd been on other committees before. And the way I really got interested in it was Lauren Gross was visiting Congress people, and I asked her if I could go with her to visit my Congress people. And I did that, and then I realized that I was interested in many of the things that the CPA, the Committee on Public Affairs, was interested in, and I went on the grant, several of the committees to that you were on too. I mean, actually, to find out how we could get better funded, and so some of the issues that they were dealing with, I was very interested in, and also from a service point of view, I thought was a good thing to do.
That's pretty similar to my logic of how I got on the committee. I remember actually at the Miami meeting hearing Lauren and Ellen Craig and others talking about what not to say on the Hill and what to say on the Hill. And I foolishly asked if I could go to the Hill. And the first 2 times I tried to go, things didn't work out. Once they signed a federal budget and everyone went home. Then the second time they started a Gulf War and everyone didn't want to talk to me. And the third time it worked, and I was able to go to the Hill with Lauren, and she completely held my hand, told me what to say, told me what not to say, and was like a wonderful mother/babysitter, even though she's younger than I am. And it was very helpful to have her give us information, feed information, and provide the organization that would get me there. She fed me, other things are good, and that was kind of fun.
Yeah, no, it's important. I mean, I've always talked to people on the plane or the elevator talk about my research, because I know it's really important as scientists that we let our well, they're not my constituents, but let people who pay for our research know why what we're doing is important. So I always do that.
And if you don't do that, they're not going to know what we do, and then we're not going to be able to maintain funding. We're not going to be able to maintain our labs, and that's important.
Yeah.
And trying to speak at the level of a congressman or a person in the elevator is probably about the same in terms of their knowledge of science, unless you happen to be at a medical center.
It was interesting because when I went to speak to my representative, she has a family member who has Alzheimer's, and so these people have a personal connection to some disease, and so they were interested, and not only that, but a big concern about how our medical school was going, the issues there. So they're on top of many issues, actually. When I was 9 years old, I read a book called The Microbe Hunters, and it was about people like Louis Pasteur and Loyola and Koch, about the microscopes and things. So I always wanted, I got so excited about discovering things, but not like Sherlock Holmes with dead bodies, but about something really interesting. And so my role models were men from the 17th century, pretty much. So a long time ago, but that didn't matter. And so when I went to UCLA, Eli Serkar's, bless his heart, was one of my teachers, and I had several stops, between the time I actually made it all the way through, but I've always been interested in immunology, always. And in fact, I wrote in my high school yearbook, what I wanted to be was a medical microbiologist, but I knew nothing what that meant. My mom and dad were in, small business, no science background at all. And so I started washing dishes at UCLA, and then I got into a cholera lab, where I had to, get a cholera shot
and wash dishes better.
To wash dishes better in the lab. Anyway, that's enough for me.
So how I got into immunology. Immunology was, I went to a small college, Reed College, and the immunology teacher was on sabbatical the year that I was eligible to take the class. So I never had immunology in college. And in graduate school, I majored in cell biology. And there was an immunology professor who was very strict, and I took his class. And while taking the class, I was absolutely awesome in the beginning and trailed down to do very poorly in the end of the class. And for me, things that are more challenging, things that are more difficult, are more interesting. I think the trailing off and doing poorly in the end was more a function of the fact that I had just torn my posterior cruciate ligament playing in a soccer tournament a few days before that class started. And the first many, many months, or weeks at least, of the class, I had to stick my leg in a hot tub, swirly thing, whirlpool thing. So I had my immunology book, because it was the littlest and most portable book, with me all the time in the hot tub, or with my leg in the hot tub. And then by the end of the semester, I started getting better. At least my leg was better, so my grades started going down. So the concept of having something more challenging, I think, is more interesting to me. I don't really think of myself as an immunologist. I work on macrophages. They eat garbage. I think that's the most awesome thing. If a cell could eat garbage and still live, that sounds like a great deal. So I think of myself as more of an inflammologist working on inflammation, which is a subset of immunology. But my direction to get there was, I had no idea what it was. I didn't get into it until a later date. And I think that being, picking a cell type that you like and being able to explore its function in many organs, and then finding out, gee, that's immunology, seems to work more for me than your direction.